Hey gang, for those of you who enjoy QF, a podcast about Howard Stern, and would like to donate to us just via PayPal, you can, using the email address johnnythegreek21@gmail.com. You can check the link in the description for the spelling, and it's also here on the graphic. And if you'd like to do more in terms of donations or subscriptions, you can use our Patreon account and subscribe via the Black Kluge level, and you can receive our weekly content that we're putting only on Patreon. It's exclusive for that platform. And anything over $5 is just gravy, guys. We love you. Thank you so much.
Now, look, I don't want to get into a long explanation. That's not what I came here for. My audience isn't here. They're here to laugh. Hour and a half. I have not taken a break. Spread the word about Sirius. We do not take commercial breaks that often. Let's go ahead to Randy. I don't want to be in a wig and a purse. I do that in my personal life.
Jeff, I don't want anybody touching me.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm with you.
Sometimes, like, hey,
yeah,
man,
but,
what's up?
Yeah, you touch me because you're paid to touch me.
I'm not saying I was the biggest stud, but I got mine. And I fucked some pretty good-looking women. Way before I was Howard Stern on the radio. Fuck off. Assholes. The nose I have now is gigantic, and the fact of the matter is, the reason it looks different on Letterman, which I've explained a million times, is that I keep the camera so far back on the E! Show, and I only shoot from the right-hand side. You wouldn't turn the children against me, would you?
I would try.
She would, too.
She's coming and she's fighting on all sides.
No, but I'd win that one.
I wouldn't even have to do anything. If you ever did anything to hurt me, they would hate you.
I wouldn't hurt you. I just want to go out and have sex with some women.
Listen, by the way, considering what I'm going through, I feel horrible that your smoking hot girlfriend went to a movie without you last night.
And then came home.
Can I say something about that, though?
And then came home.
Let's be honest, though.
When he was knee-deep in Johnny Walker Blue.
Well,
It's a bachelor party.
I think it was a good idea for the beginning of it.
Yeah, I think you would have been just as weird. If we started at the beginning, you go, oh my God, everyone's staring at me.
Not me. I love it. I love when people stare.
He loves to be stared at.
I love it.
Move into Sam's house and get the fuck out of our lives. We'll get Beetlejuice to pick out our
Get fatter, Hardy. We're more of those fucking things.
Beetlejuice will pick out Howard Church. You can live with Sam and blow him. You're being a little,
and not only that,
baby there.
No, not only that. Hey, I'm just trying to weigh it
You
up.
can't live without a stylist in your life?
I'm thinking who would be easier to replace?
I think Ralph, of course.
But there's a lot of guys
who picks out your clothes.
Chris, could you date Ralph? Would you?
No.
You couldn't? Why?
No, look at that smile. He's lying.
You're lying.
Robin,
Tell the truth. Could you date Ralph?
Date Ralph?
No.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
I could.
No.
We would have the best time, Robin.
I couldn't date Ralph.
You wouldn't talk to me.
I couldn't date Ralph, but I could fuck him. I'd fuck his brains out.
Well, maybe. Maybe.
If you
A
guys
lot of people feel that way.
I know Ralph is straight, but all right, now I understand.
All right.
I don't understand. I can't understand gorgeous.
It's a straight place.
No guy. Let me just say something about men. No man
Says gorgeous.
Really? This restaurant is gorgeous.
Okay.
Now, you got to understand something. Guys don't talk that way.
Next time.
Guy goes, hey, it was a good lunch.
And it was sort of set.
Well, the sketch, what the controversy was, it was Patrick Swayze, who's gorgeous.
Welcome, guys, to QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. I'm Fillmore, and with me for this one is Sam. How you doing, Sammy?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yes, this is another long-awaited Reschinding, the Adam Sandler Reschinding. We're taking a break between Colford episodes, and I thought it would be a good idea to get this one out of the way because there's so much evidence out there, and the only clip I couldn't get was from 1998, and I think it was about the Waterboy, which made a shit ton of money.
Yeah, I saw that in a movie theater when I was a teenager. I remember seeing it. And that was everything on the Sandler movies. That was kind of where he started to go on the decline pretty much after that. Well, the Waterboy was like kind of the last hurrah of somewhat okay.
Well, I remember it was 98, I believe. 98, yeah. So I would have been 23, I guess. And I went with some friends, and I wasn't a huge fan at all, but we just said, okay, it's massive. They say it's funny. Let's go. I fucking hated it. I fucking just hated that voice of his, everything about it. And I said, I don't know why this is making money. So for me, this Reschinding, I agree with Howard with most of it. And so I can't get too on him about certain things, but it's just at the end, it's so self-serving and just a bullshit turnaround to have him in studio and not admit, look, I hated your fucking movies.
I know.
You know.
I also just think there came a point where it was like, are you just going to keep playing teenagers?
Yeah.
Like,
well, he did, and he mixed it up, and then he started doing kids stuff, which, after Eddie Murphy, no one's going to give a shit about anyway. It's for kids. You don't get criticized for it, really.
Yeah, he started doing like those parenthood movies with, those cast of people, the comedians, which seems more like they just like to get away from their families and wives and go party and make a movie for every year.
Did you see Grown Ups?
Yes, I did. And I'm sorry, I called it Parenthood. That's Steve Martin's film.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I thought maybe Sandler made a film called Parenthood. That's how little I knew about it.
No, it's Grown Ups. I apologize. Yeah, I did see Grown Ups. It was not good.
That was when Rock and Spade both came in, and that's funny. It's another Reschinding because Spade came in and Howard apologized to him because he wrote an article about Howard in Time, I think, and it wasn't glowing enough. So he bitched about it. He said maybe somebody else should have wrote it. Spade didn't come back for 5 years or something. And then,
I do remember that. And then they were like fishing. Oh, do you think he's mad? Do you think he's mad? Yeah, he hasn't been back. I would take that as he's not happy. The guy couldn't get enough of your show. He was on it every year, if not sometimes twice. So that's I take it as if he's missing for a few years, he's probably pissed.
Oh, yeah, and I would be too, and he definitely was. There's no question. Bowie said it on the wrap-up show. He said, "Look, he's been in town for a number of junkets. If he's not coming in, which he normally does, he used to come in when he was making a movie, not even when the movie was done."
Yeah.
So they came in and they tried to promote it as being, the Apatow films were starting to come out, so like we got to bring our A game. And Grown Ups was such a piece of shit.
It was so bad. It was so bad. Actually, the one that I didn't mind so much was in 2012. It's called That's My Boy. It was a little bit more with Andy Samberg, and he's
Huge
just
bomb.
this. It was a bomb, but in hindsight, I think it's kind of funny. He plays like I guess, what you would call a famed child star for fucking his teacher.
I think that, as Sandler started to branch out more, he realized he could do certain things, and he learned his limitations. What I didn't realize about him was, back in the day, his first 2 comedy albums sold like a couple million each, like 2 million records for a comedy album in 1993 and 1995 are huge.
That's a large number. And then he sold a lot of those holiday Hanukkah songs, which was another big thing that became like a Christmas for some reason. That's now become part of the holiday zeitgeist.
Yeah. And he started writing like Madman. And so the first thing I saw him in, I think, was Airheads, which you won't call it an Adam Sandler film. He was just in it. But then, Billy Madison, I never saw. I think Happy Gilmore was the first I saw. And I thought that was funny. I thought that was funny as shit.
Oh, my God. It's my favorite.
Yeah. And there's just so many good quotes, and the cast is good. I mean, if for another SCTV reference, Joe Flaherty's he's the guy saying "jackass."
It's so great. It's just so many odd things about it. I love when he's like, "Go to your happy place," and it's just like a midget on a tricycle, and it's and just like the Gene Simmons mask is like his girlfriend's tonguing down the Gene Simmons mask, and he's like, "Fuck!"
Yeah, well, there's so many stupid things, like the caretaker of the ice rink starts like lip syncing to "Endless Love" at the end.
I know. Or he's like, "Grandma, see, this place looks nice," and then all of a sudden that fat cow falls from the window. Mister, get me out of here. And he takes a Subway sandwich. He's like, "Here, eat that."
It's also one of the only times I gave a shit about Ben Stiller or thought he was funny when check out the name tag, Grandma.
You're in my world now, Grandma.
Exactly. So
I could offer you a glass of shut the hell up.
Exactly.
Like,
Artie said that the story was his early films, Lorne Michaels passed on them, and he was pissed because Robert Simons was the early producer up until, I think, Little Nicky, which is a massive bomb. And
yes, that was. What the fuck was that?
I mean, Little Nicky apparently was so bad when people started coming into the show and he asked them about it, none of them could defend it. Like Rock couldn't, Sarah Silverman couldn't, and you'll hear it, guys. I'm sorry to preempt these, but the thing was that Lauren was always doing those, cheerleader and what was the Mary Catherine Gallagher film? Superstar, yeah. And then the Night at the Roxbury, which was, it was okay. It was what it was. It was funny for a little, some segments of it were funny, but most of the SNL stuff were bombs. So why would he? Yeah. Why would he do It's Pat, but not try a Sandler film?
Right. I mean, honestly, most of the SNL bits, the fact that they turned those into movies and made any profit, I'm shocked because they were pretty awful.
That's right. And so you wouldn't call like Tommy Boy SNL, even though it's an SNL crew. But
I love
either
Tommy
way,
Boy.
It's one of my favorites.
Oh my God.
So we're going to go back, guys, all the way to 1999, October 5th. And KC's in the studio. And here's a shout out to KC. Hope you enjoy this one, buddy. He comes in to play some bits from Sandler albums for Stern. And so we're not going to play the bits themselves, just the reaction.
Yeah. KC, you got to put on the older albums. You got to put on The GOAT.
I know, dude. I showed it to him. He doesn't like it, though.
I don't know, man. I'm not. You know what? No offense to the guy. I don't get it.
Have you heard The GOAT? Have you heard Toe Booth Willie?
No. I mean, I just please,
I showed him the hypnotist one, and I showed him the one with the three guys.
Yeah, right.
The greatest bits.
Yeah.
You give me a.
It's weird, the hypnotist one, because now all Howard does on his show is fake hypnotist bits, where he's trying to get Ronnie to butt plug himself. So.
Right, or every time he says NASCAR, he gets like he tickles his G spot. The thing is, I think a hypnotist is what his audience could use to start liking the show again. Well, he was just pissed because this is like a couple of years after Private Parts. Can't get another fucking film role. Can't get another film made because Private Parts was such a bomb. But Sandler films are making more and more money. I think Happy Gilmore made something like, not Happy Gilmore. Billy Madison made something like $26 million at the box office, but only cost about $10 million to make. So that's a profit.
Plus, then you have the sales. Those video sales for Sandler movies must have been insane. Because I don't know a single person back then that did not have those movies.
Right, but just for the sake of argument, let's just use box office alone, right? Because that's what most people would base success versus and so then Happy Gilmore, because I'm trying to remember the figures. I think it cost something like $12 million and made about 40. So he was starting to build more and more, so that by the time The Wedding Singer comes out, which was I think 97, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 96, it cost about, I don't know, 20 million, but made something like 80 million. So
oh my God, I loved The Wedding Singer.
I thought it was cute. It was one of those.
It's one of my favorite romantic comedies by far.
So anyway, it's like clear there's an audience for Sandler films, and so they start to make more and more money till finally the fucking Waterboy comes out, and that's just like however much it cost, it made hundreds of millions, and it was just a massive, massive hit, and that had to bother Howard to no fucking end.
I know. It had to drive him crazy because it was terrible and foosball, haha. Like,
yeah. Meanwhile, like so he Howard's big foray into Hollywood is a complete bomb, and he sees these people with, and admittedly, yes, it's not like high concept fucking comedy. They're making millions of dollars, and he's still on radio, losing markets.
And because he's so insecure, he can't just pull this crap. He just, pretends that he's in the works.
Yes.
In the works.
Yeah. Howard Stern.
I got a lot of balls in the air. Oh, where are those balls? They're fucking, those balls in the air. They're a bunch of balloons to nowhere. They fucking are sucked up in a jet plane somewhere. Those balls.
The only balls he's got in the air is Ralph's. And so the whole point. The whole point is he just like anybody who was successful back then, he was going to shit on. And even if he deep inside would say, "Oh, I'm laughing at this. I think it's funny," he'll never admit it. There's just no way.
Would you think like he would have turned the Backside Boys into something?
Fuck.
Sampling of the greatest Adam Sandler bits. It's a mystery to me, like why he broke out of Saturday Night Live and not one of those other douchebags. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about it the other day because he didn't even do what some of the other people do, is like take one of their skits and blow it up.
Yeah.
He just went on and wrote really bad new movies, and they did well.
I know.
As opposed to you, Robin? As opposed to what? Your radio career that you blew up into a failed charity?
Come on, didn't you see Deadly Web? She was amazing in that. She reprises her Sally Jesse Raphael, her triumphant appearance on Sally.
The most she's gotten is a video clip from our podcast.
Yeah, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Powers was good.
Yeah.
And Wayne's World, the first one was good.
Wow.
I liked it.
I dispute that.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good.
You told me you watched the first 5 minutes you thought were funny, and then you couldn't figure out what the rest was.
So she's calling him on a fucking lie.
If Howard was Pinocchio, he would have a full oak tree just growing out of his face. He would have generations of squirrels just living in that fucking thing.
Oh, Jesus.
Minutes is better than nothing. You know what I mean? But, I don't know. Adam Sandler, I just don't get it. And, you know, hey, maybe it's an age thing or something, but I just don't dig it.
No, that's because you're just as juvenile as I am.
I know.
Sweet.
Juvenile. Meanwhile, he was going to make a film called Fart Man. And he was going on junkets and interviews saying, no, Fart Man's going to be the next film.
High concept, high comedy.
Hold on, sorry. Truffaut, fuck off, Truffaut. Here comes a real tour.
And you know, he's just like, I don't know, maybe it's too juvenile. As opposed to what? You're watching Habits of Dawson's Creek?
The next clip, guys, is from September 5th of 2000. David Spade comes in and he's plugging the making of, he's not even finished making it, but Joe Dirt. And apparently he'll
Another
explain.
high concept.
Yeah. And Sandler executive produced it. Basically, no one else would take it. So Sandler's production company greenlit it. So he's doing, Spade a huge solid. And so Spade's going to talk about it.
David Spade isn't promoting anything. He's working on a movie now called Joe Dirt.
Enough of us.
Which, by the way, your movie studio would not make the movie. Is that correct? And then,
that's true. When I did Lost and Found,
the movie Lost and Found,
you saw it?
Lost and Found didn't make any money.
Which Robin liked.
I did. Still like it.
Lost and Found featuring Artie Lang as with the Chris Farley wig, by the way. One of the worst films I've ever seen.
I've never seen it.
Just don't bother. I'm telling you right now, rewatch Private Parts instead. That's how bad it is.
I'll say no to both suggestions.
Exactly.
Lost and Found did not make money.
I don't think it did.
So your movie studio said, we'll pay you not to make this movie. Is that true?
They said, we'll pay you not to make this movie.
Is that weird?
Right.
No, they were going to just pay me my salary for the next movie because it was pay or play.
Right. So that would have been...
They would rather lose that money
to make the
than
movie.
lose more by doing it.
Okay.
So Adam Sandler read it and said, hey, I've read this. I think it's funny. Would you want me to try doing anything? And I said, no, don't, because you're just a friend and you're being cool and don't worry about it. It's not your...
So, I mean, Jesus Christ. This is someone, and you greenlight a movie, the cost of promoting it, making it, producing it, re-editing it, all that shit that goes along with it is massive. And look at Stern, won't even finance his own fucking projects. Howard Stern, the high school years, Doomsday, Kane, what was the other one? God, now it's all coming back to me. Well, Son of the Beach he got made, but I mean, all these things he was going to make, and then fuck.
We'll just talk about like going out on a limb for people. I mean, that is just unheard of. Like everybody in the Hollywood world rejected you, but here's a bunch of money and I'm going to do this for you. I mean, that's a huge risk, and wow, what a friend. Something Howard has zero concept of.
That's right. And Sandler's films are only like, if this is 2000, he's only like 5 years making movies regularly, and they're huge hits, but using his clout right away, not even hesitating and saying, yeah, I like it. I think we can make something out of it. I think that's cool.
I honestly think, though, too, during this time period, like you said, Sandler was just on a roll. So anybody in that atmosphere, like David Spade was always cameos in his movie, and that crowd of people, just keeping that going, I don't care what it would have been. It's content. So people would have said, oh, this is Sandler produced, David Spade, he's involved in that crowd of people. It's just one of those cool kid of comedy things at the time. They were like the cool kids of comedy at the time, especially for like teenagers. People just, whatever came out of that sort of circle of people just went and saw.
I think, a certain audience they had. So, they would be fairly loyal, at least up to a point. But either way, early on to do that is amazing. But then there was also people like Dan Aykroyd, who wasn't with their generation, but he was doing, I think, Sergeant Bilko. They did a remake of that with Steve Martin. It was awful. But Chris Rock got a bit part in it because Dan Aykroyd kind of, railroaded it through and said, listen, when I'm not on the stage, when I'm off the set, you can use my trailer, just because they had the SNL connection. He wasn't like good friends with Rock. He was just saying, we're frat brothers from the same frat. And Rock said, look, I needed it. I totally needed it. But, my career was going nowhere. It was a bit part, but kept me in the business.
I mean, that's really nice.
Yeah. So Wig, on the other hand, is going to shit all over it.
And then he said, I think it would make money. It would help me.
All right.
And so he said, I have a deal with some of these places. So like a week later, he calls, we're making it.
So was he the executive producer?
Yeah, it was really cool. It was a good friend move.
Sandler.
Yeah.
That's very nice. Now, is he involved actively in the making of the movie?
He is, and we finished shooting it. We have that scene tomorrow. We're going to do it Total Request Live.
Does he tell you stuff to do and everything? Did he make suggestions?
Sometimes,
Because no offense, his movies are as bad as they get.
Okay, so let's keep going.
They suck.
Yeah, they do. But, I mean, he makes tons of money. I can't argue with that.
Somehow or other, they make money.
So really, don't take his advice. Just take his money.
Well, the worst thing is
maybe he does know.
Maybe he does.
Yeah, my last movie got bad reviews.
You know what? Sandler played to this crowd. It was kind of like a teenage crowd. It's not so wholesome, but it's not so R-rated. And it's not so high concept where it's like, Three Amigos or like over your head type thing. He perfectly, it was the perfect time and the perfect audience for kids like 11 to 15 or 16 or something. High school kids to like middle school kids that you could go to the movies and see without your parents. You knew it wasn't going to be exceptionally bad, as in like graphic or, high concept or whatever. He perfectly fit into that thing. So who cares if it's bad or good? He's making a shit ton of money because that's what kids could see and feel cool seeing because it was kind of edgy.
Right. And even the early 2000s, studios would make films just to have them on DVD eventually and make their money that way, as you said. So Joe Dirt, a Spade movie would be like, I don't know what Will Ferrell movies are going to start becoming like, direct to video, or, there'll be some built-in audience that'll buy it anyway, whatever the fuck. Now, in the future, no one's buying DVDs anymore. But at the time, guys, 20 years ago, it was very much a thing. People have huge libraries of DVDs on their walls the way we had videos back in the day.
Yeah.
And then, albums, and shit. So there's people that think David Spade deserves his own film festival for all the shit films he's done.
I'd be first in line to throw a tomato at that piece of shit screen.
Exactly.
I do that during that time period, though, that age group, there were certain things you just did. You watched TRL on the bus after school. You went and saw Adam Sandler movies. It was just part of what you did.
That's right.
Growing up,
he's got a new one out. Yeah, he's got a new one out. We're going to go see it. That's the kind of thing. Like Jerry Lewis was like that back in his day. As soon as he had one out, you just went and saw it. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is, Wig didn't get that kind of return. He thought of himself on the Wayne's World level. Wayne's World made something like 150 million or 160 million. Unbelievable.
And it make money. That's worse. I'd rather get bad reviews and
make money. He knows how to get bad reviews and make money. Yeah. What is it?
He must know something because Ganji pulled this for me. Lost and Found grossed $6.5 million.
Right.
Deuce Bigalow, which I think was the first movie that he executive produced, Adam Sandler, $65 million.
Deuce Bigalow was a funny film, though.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and so the thing with that type of film, these comedies, these cheapo comedies, would only cost about $10 million to make, and then they'd make at least 20, 30, 40 million. And that's what the studio wants. At least getting their money back. And then on top of that, gravy.
In sync with these movies were the teen movies, like 10 Things I Hate About You, She's All That. So you had this crop of teen rom-coms that were super cheap to make and new coming actors that you barely had to pay, which every fucking kid saw. And then you had these comedy ones. So it was just like a force working together. Like, you would go to the movies. That's what people did. Kids, what else did we fucking have to do?
Can you do me a huge favor and direct the mic so that it's headed for you? Like like flat again, pretty much, because you're not getting as much gain as you should be.
Okay. Sorry.
Let's see.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
Okay.
Okay. There's only a minute left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Funny movie. It's a funny movie.
Decimal in the wrong place.
Bigelow
Yeah.
is better than any Adam Sandler movie I've ever seen.
It is. So maybe this is going to be good for you.
Well, I think it's
I'm
a funny
pulling for
movie.
it.
Me and the guy that wrote Tommy Boy, and we tried to make it as close to that as possible.
Why don't you come to me? I would have exec produced you.
Yeah.
I
He
love
would
that
roll
line.
out the red carpet and the bankroll, meaning he would see what spare change he has in his pocket and tell you to fuck off.
Didn't he tell that to Einziger? Why didn't you come to me? I have a production company. Yeah, it's working so well.
Yeah, a production company. It's like an attic of nothing.
You're not even producing a fart. What the fuck?
I didn't know you had that kind of
I got tons of clout.
juice.
I got juice, dude.
I think Sandler
I got juice.
Oh, the editing
fuck.
process. He sort of was hands off when the movie was. I wouldn't listen to him. Well,
Yeah, we have
you don't
to.
know how to make $100
But he's
million.
good. Yeah, but he's good because he does know some things. And
He must know
can always
something.
say, you know, he does think I'm funny and he likes the movie, so I like that. He
Now that's
doesn't
putting
go
his
on my
money
case.
where his mouth is.
Yeah,
so
he did, and then he says when we're editing, if it tests, we'll see how it tests.
Okay, hold on. Before we go into that, keep in mind the difference between Sandler and Spade is, okay, Spade, it's the difference between them. The main big difference is likability. Spade's not nearly as likable as Sandler was.
Spade he was likable if he played a certain part or role, I think, you know, but you're nowhere near as universally likable. Like, you just smiled when you saw Adam Sandler for some reason. He just, I don't know why.
Well, look at Tommy Boy. What was the draw? Farley, of course. But Farley doesn't work nearly as well if they're not working together, because they did Black Sheep a few years later and they were not together in the film. So it doesn't work as well. It's just not as good a film. So it doesn't help that they're also
fine. I like Black Sheep.
I didn't really care for it. I just thought this is watered down Tommy Boy, and it's just not as good. But Tommy Boy was a tough one to top anyway. God, that was so funny.
Oh my God, it's so fucking funny. I cried laughing.
Just the part where he goes, my whole life sucks. I just killed Bambi. When that hair, he pulls the hair up.
Richard.
Yeah.
If there's any
That seems
problem,
like a really good.
Oh, look at him.
and then he says he steps more into now, and also he said the poster for your last movie was bad, the trailer was bad, and that's the 90% of your movie. He said and the studio's going to get behind this, so don't worry about that. We'll make that work.
So Sandler's there giving his buddy tips on what he's learned, probably sitting in on meetings and being an executive producer, learning the business. So Sandler, smartly, not just writing, acting, and not directing, I don't think he's directed anything, but he's getting into the business end of it. So later on he can branch out, and that's always a smart move, because you don't ever want to pigeon yourself as someone who needs a script, needs a producer, needs this. When you can do your own things, you'd be like Coppola.
Yeah, and he brings these people along, like you said, not in a way of wielding his power to say, look what I can do for you. It's
exactly.
Like he does it like, I want to teach you something, and let's make this an all-encompassing sort of adventure, versus Wig, who's like, I can't wait to stomp my boot on your face forever.
Pretty much. This next clip, guys, same year, 2000, but it's November 13th, and it's Wiggy revels in the box office take, or the lackluster box office take, of Little Nicky.
Hey, did I read that right? Adam Sandler's movie only made $14 million? 18. Thank God. You know, that's still too much money. That's still too much money.
Less than half of the last film.
Good. I mean, finally.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a huge disappointment?
He's so nice. So helpful.
Then later on he goes, I wonder why he doesn't come into our show.
I know. And then he wonders why people don't like him.
There's a difference between saying, okay, stating a fact, this film didn't do so well, whatever. But then saying, like, actively rooting against a film, someone's movie, that isn't shitting on them personally. Who's not going to take that personally?
He was like holding his breath. Oh, thank God. That could make a lot of money.
Exactly.
What?
I hope so. Oh, God, I mean, finally, it doesn't make any sense that those movies make money. He was beat by Charlie's Angels. Thank God for Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
How much did Charlie's Angels make?
25.
Oh.
I don't know. That seems to affect my day. Why is that?
I'm waiting to hear the results. More than the election.
I got to ask my psychiatrist about that. Why am I so... At first, I had him read about Adam Sandler's weekend and then the election.
Go ahead.
Oh, what a novice, what a smart person.
Yeah.
I have to read about Adam Sandler's box office before who's running our country. I'm a fucking idiot.
Well,
I just can't believe that he just is such a miserable person. And think about what he's coming to his psychiatrist with. Hey, Doc, I'm having a mental meltdown. I need to. I'm worried about these box office results of Little Nicky.
So he's got stacks of Billboard.
What does that mean?
Box office magazine.
His therapist is just like in his head thinking, "Oh, I'm definitely gonna have a yacht on Cannes this year."
Yeah, basically, he's picking. Maybe I can just, the psychiatrist is like now allowing his kids to use BB guns and shoot the windows out of his Ferrari, knowing he's just paid for the new windows in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, kids, guess what? You could destroy everything in this house because we're going to be remodeling every year from this fucking lunatic who's worried about Little Nicky returns.
Guys, start planning your vacation. Adam Sandler's making a new movie. So this next clip is from, a few months later, February 15th, 2001. He's goofing about Little Nicky to Chris Rock, who comes in studio.
Yeah.
You know, I rented Little Nicky, Adam Sandler's movie.
Don't start.
I heard it was...
didn't make funny. I was thinking about that the other day.
Sandler's my friend.
I know, but you got to hear this.
This had to be the biggest bomb.
Right. So I rented it. Because they said, I got to see this thing. It made about $38 million, which for Adam Sandler isn't great because he was making $200 million a film.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's Hollywood.
Right, because
Muhammad Ali lost fights.
Wait a minute.
Right.
They paid him $20 million
Rock does a good job defending him. It's pretty good. Hold on.
to make that film.
Ali lost fights.
It was a big bomb.
Michael Jordan missed shots.
Right.
Chris, the movie made $8 million after they paid Adam his salary.
No, but wait a second. So I rent it, and you know what? The first 10 minutes, I'm laughing. I'm liking it. Wait a second. Don't get crazy.
Really?
Come on.
I'm laughing, and then he's down in hell, and Satan's job is to shove a pineapple up Hitler's butt.
Uh-huh.
Because that's his job.
And that's what happened.
Funny.
Now, I didn't see the film, and I wouldn't have at that point because I was like 25, and I thought, like this, the premise.
To do.
Well, yeah, the premise looks stupid anyway. I just thought I would never have greenlit this.
It was so horrible. It was so horrible.
You were going in rude. Were you expecting it to be bad when you went in?
Yeah, I did because I just the voice, everything about when Adam Sandler does voices over, like if they have to carry throughout the whole movie, and that's your main character is in a voice, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
you just know it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Pineapple up Hitler's butt.
It was funny.
Okay.
After that, the whole thing went way downhill.
Really?
Well, it's hard to follow a pineapple up Hitler's butt.
I had to turn it off. I can watch anything.
Hey,
Yeah,
I
wait a
like
minute.
it.
Hold it.
No, you don't.
Chris,
Come on. No, let me say, did you go with your
did
writer?
you and the buddies go to the Adam Sandler movie?
Did you or didn't you?
Sounds like.
Did you or didn't you?
Hey, we had a ball. We had a ball.
So you and Rock can't defend it, obviously, but he's doing his best.
But who cares? Get drunk and watch a shitty film and go party. Who gives a shit? I mean, Howard, you sit there and watch The Bachelor every week. And you talk about it the next week like it's some high art.
Right. But you also made one shitty movie. And where's your next 3 bombs that you like? At least Sandler has got the respect. He's made enough clout so that he can make a bomb. Howard made one bomb and that was it.
Right. I mean, the good Sandler films are what people will remember, so much so, and they carry so much weight that it doesn't matter how many bombs he makes. You will always reference the good ones, which are fucking hilarious, and they will always be hilarious. Even my kid, who I showed her Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, was dying laughing. We love them.
Right. Well, I mean, some things transcend. There's a certain, I don't know, like you said, there's a cross section of people that can watch certain films, and if it crosses generations, then you got something special because it'll always make money for you on repeats. Like TV buying the right for it, some channel wants to show it, whatever. Boom, you just struck gold. So
the only comparison that I can think is Howard's legacy of radio. Mm-hmm. The good that we have, the good that we have, and some of the really great broadcasts and funny bits, no matter what we say about him or how awful the show has gotten, we are always going to have that good. So I will give him props for that.
Right. We'll always be quoting whiskey sobbing computer board sometime in the future.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Exactly.
You liked it. It was touching.
I will not diss the Sandman.
Right. No, he's a good friend and he helps you,
not
right?
In private, I wouldn't diss him.
No, I understand your
friend. Got to give respect to Paulie.
Yes, Paulie Shore.
No, well, Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. That's what Paulie Shore for Adam Sandler's career.
Give respect to Paulie.
No, the reason
no matter
I say...
what happens, you got to give Paulie his cut.
And once again, guys, I'll go straight on the record. Like I was with Howard. It was a perfect target for me because I didn't understand how they made that much money. I understood how Sandler had an audience, but not like 200 million for The Waterboy.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, so who was seeing this? I guess it was teenagers thinking it was the funniest shit ever, watching it 4 times.
It was teenagers whose parents thought it was wholesome enough to just drop you off at a movie theater and go see and have a good time.
Right. So I just don't get it. So next one is from April 17th, 2001, and it's just general fuckery on his movies.
He's just saying the outback.
Yeah, and
I love Crocodile Dundee, man.
They don't know what they're talking
Tom
about.
Green's movie, they said it was the worst comedy ever made.
Really?
Yeah.
Even worse than an Adam Sandler film.
Yeah.
Can't be.
Wow.
Can't be that bad.
Oh, man.
Drew Barrymore did get rid of him.
Low.
Yeah.
So that was Tom Green who said that?
Freddie Got Fingered, I guess, is the film they're referencing.
Yeah, I used to watch the Tom Green show too. That was another one of those weird sort of shows. And then his career kind of got going in the movies. But I liked that weirdness too. I watched that a lot and thought that was odd and funny.
It had a moment in time. There was a moment in time where Tom Green was something.
And I also think about this. People don't do this anymore. So much so that it's almost forgettable that when movies came out, you would be like, oh, this movie's coming out. That's what you did in your life for the weekend. If a certain movie was coming out, you anticipated it. You couldn't wait to go see it. And when it came out that weekend or the next, you would go. That was just part of life. That is no longer a thing.
Yeah, and well, not because of COVID, guys. Even before COVID, the only things were like
long before COVID.
Marvel films, Star Wars films. They became they're still events that people make time for. But yeah, you're right. And also the process of going to the film, getting your tickets, getting the popcorn, sitting and getting the right seat. Hoping you get
sneaking in booze in your purse and jerking off your date. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going with the wrong people. Next clip is June 15th, 2001. Same year. Sarah Silverman's in in the studio. So what's happening is everybody comes in, he's going to ask them about Sandler. If he's not obsessed about Sandler and talking shit about Sandler to other people, then I'm just missing my guess here.
I don't know.
Was that the year you were on? Because I'm all fuzzy with that crap. Was that the Adam Sandler years?
Yeah.
It was.
Adam and Spade and Farley and Rob Schneider.
Oh, good
Julie
period.
Sweeney.
Spade. Good period. People panned it. I mean, some people loved it. I loved it. I loved the early 90s with those guys. I fucking loved SNL at that point.
Yeah, I think I have a DVD at my parents' house where it's just specifically those years and skits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I have to go dig through the basement and find it, but I definitely remember buying something where it was just those years in skits.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Norm Macdonald on the news when he was fucking on OJ the entire time. God, there was nothing better. Like he just
nothing. Every opening,
obsessive.
it was so, and everybody just said no more, and he went left and just kept hammering it, and just the panned expressions and delivery were fucking amazing. We should just play some of those for the hell of it.
well, but one of my favorites is still the Lyle Lovett and Julia Roberts are getting divorced. No cause for the separation. However, sources close to the couple say the reason for behind the split is that she's Julia Roberts and he is Lyle Lovett. It's still one of my favorite bits ever.
I absolutely loved him on the news. Norm Macdonald too was a part of that crowd. It was just so. I loved his cameos in the Sandler movies. I loved Norm Macdonald. He was so weird.
He was the best. Chevy Chase was good too, but and then did you ever see the appearance of Siskel and Ebert on the Carson show in the mid '80s? It's on YouTube, and Carson asks Chevy to do the talking about the guy while he's talking, making faces.
Yeah.
That's still one of my favorites ever. So.
It was at Shun Lee last night. He called me to come join him.
Really?
But this guy goes out to eat like 10 o'clock at night. He still hasn't figured out that I get up early. And Adam Sandler, you found funny? I guess you have to say that, right?
No, oh my God, he's so funny.
Why doesn't he put you? Why doesn't he put you in some of those horrible movies he makes? Seriously.
Yeah. Now here's the thing, guys. The way he explained, he said you have to pretend Adam Sandler's funny. That's a blanket statement saying that you don't find him funny, that you don't find him talented. Not about his movies. Now he's going on about the movies, but he just outright said he's not funny.
Yeah, like he's making a personality judgment versus everything.
Yeah.
I mean, versus the movies. And that's a completely separate issue. And Adam Sandler is funny as a person.
I think so too. I mean, I don't like his interviews. I think his interviews are boring as shit. But then, De Niro films can be great, and his interviews are horrendous.
There are some people on SNL that gave the game away that made the skit more funny, and Sandler was one of them. You could tell that he couldn't hold it in, and when he made those faces like he was going to laugh or couldn't hold it in or had to turn his face away a little, I mean, those moments for me almost made the skit better. He's one person that can get away with doing it. Right. And I loved that about him. So he's a funny person.
He wasn't quite Jimmy Fallon, who laughed every fucking sketch and couldn't keep it together, who was just as unfunny as shit.
Jimmy Fallon is a child trying too hard. Like, you just want to whap him over the head and just be like, sit the fuck down.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Right.
Seriously, why doesn't he put you in some movies? Is he not a good friend?
No, I think maybe he will. I don't know.
Yeah,
Have you talked to him about a movie?
No, I don't know. He's really cool and he's really funny. And every time he came into the writer's room, it was like such a gift because he made us laugh so hard.
Really? I don't get it. I don't get Adam Sandler. I get everybody. I don't get Adam Sandler.
That's okay.
I want to.
It's subjective.
I want to.
No, he doesn't. And the other thing is Sandler started as a writer, I believe, on SNL, and he would just write himself in sketch for somebody else like Phil Hartman, and he'd play the waiter or he'd play the busboy or something like that just to, get credit somehow, like through association, eventually make his way, because the way it was at SNL was merit based, but also there was a hierarchy. So somebody like John Lovitz, who was there before, and Kevin Nealon, they were sort of, you had to write for them to begin with anyway. And some people became writer performers. I think Spade started as a writer and then kind of, made inroads into becoming a performer on the show.
Yeah, Jim Brewer was more of a writer, but he didn't like that his shit was getting stolen.
Yeah.
I want to get the guy.
You will.
Casey, he makes me laugh on that one bit that we play.
That's a good bit.
Where he's in the men's room.
Yeah, I like that.
Going.
Yeah.
That makes me laugh.
But then we get this other bit that I was going to play yesterday because Casey loves Adam Sandler, and I'm listening to the bit, and I don't get it. And it's a funny idea. He goes to a hypnotist, and the hypnotist farts all the time. Have you heard this bit? Have you heard this?
Oh. Farting just makes me laugh.
So wait a minute. So
What's that?
So essentially, then years later, Howard just ripped off Sandler for his bits.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, like, now I still think farting is funny. It's just because, and I think the concept is simply that when it does happen, you don't expect it. And the sound is funny. That's pretty much the beginning and the end of it.
But if you're walking into the bit expecting it to be about farting before you know it's not funny. But if you don't, if the movie is labeled Fart Man, what else is there? What do you have to surprise me with? What do you think the guy's going to do? Wait, surprise, he's not farting, he's puking. Or like, what are you supposed to do?
Do you imagine the execs New Line getting pitched this? Okay, now explain to me in detail the plot for this film. And then there's this a get-up like he has a Fart Man uniform that he went into.
Oh my gosh. He probably wanted to make it as gay, homoerotic as he possibly could. Which we did see in those cartoons.
If you look at the visuals in Miss America, you have the hardcover?
Yeah.
Okay. All those animations, all those drawings are made to have his ass stuck out and look like the fart is a dick coming out of it or going into his ass.
Oh my God, the ass could have, it looks like a hip hop video ass. It could be Nicki Minaj's Anaconda video. It's ridiculous.
That's for our urban crowd.
We'll play it later in the show.
All right.
And you tell me if you think it's funny. I don't get it.
But, I've maybe laughed once or twice in all of the movies he's ever done.
The last one, I watched all his movies.
Little Nicky, I can't even put
Little
in my
Nicky,
machine.
I can't get 20 minutes in. You tell me you watched all of Little Nicky. Be honest.
I did watch all of Little Nicky.
Was that a horrible movie?
Tied up?
I mean, you're an intelligent woman. Don't tell me you thought that was a funny movie. Could someone be honest here?
The other thing is, I included, guys, it's not just him. It's also John Hine at some point. I don't know if I got that clip, but Robin shitting on him. I never know in this case, or in many cases, is Robin really shitting on him because she wants to or because she knows it's what Howard wants to hear?
We'll never know. There's never a delineation between Robin think and group think. Group being her and Howard.
Well, we'll just presume it's the parroting.
See, I wouldn't see that.
You wouldn't see
movies,
it.
I mean, I think it's stupid when people say that his movies are stupid because they are aggressively stupid. That's he's not unaware of that. It's great.
But are they funny?
Yes.
Is Little Nicky funny? Huh? Tell me the truth. Just tell me.
I thought it was really beautiful at the end when they.
Okay, so he had one bomb, but she's saying the concept of stupidity and extra stupid silliness is the point of it. That's why they were funny. Mm-hmm. The point of those Billy Madison, the Happy Gilmore movies or whatever, the point is the stupidity is the funny. They're extra retarded for a reason.
But you either find it amusing or you don't. And the other thing is, this is the guy who's defending stupid humor to Charlie Rose, saying, I don't think there is such a thing as a smart laugh, when the exact opposite is true. There are smart laughs and there are dumb laughs.
There are smart laughs and there are dumb laughs. That's very true.
Yeah, I mean,
but Howard doesn't seem to understand that there are variations and hello irony. He's like, I'm honest.
Right.
Okay.
He thinks a laugh that you get from a fart is the same as a laugh you get from a fucking Woody Allen soliloquy or something from, I don't know, from Annie Hall. It's not. It just isn't. And it is, as a discerning listener of comedy or a fan of comedy, the laugh isn't. They're not an equivalent analog, like a fart joke and something that's long form, like a George Carlin bit, or a Richard Pryor bit, it's not the same because you know how much work went into one versus the other, which is so painfully stupid and easy and obvious.
Right, like an organic Johnny Carson moment, which he set up because he's so brilliant at doing this and understanding and reading the room and knowing how he's presenting it versus Jimmy Kimmel having somebody stand up there and read mean tweets.
Right.
There's a difference. There's a fucking difference. And if you're too stupid to understand those concepts, I don't know, go get a tutor.
Right. I mean, like, what's a funny ad lib versus like a fart? Or something visually stupid. Okay, well, the one is hitting you over the head, and one is like a jackknife, just kind of, a quick cut, and it just affects people differently. There's just no two ways about it.
He said Chris Farley.
Beautiful.
Aerobics.
Chris Farley, what?
At the end, they go in heaven. She fell in love with her aerobics instructor, Chris Farley.
All right,
nice.
all right. So you're being nice. All right, what could I tell you?
Yeah, let's be nice.
What can I say? I just don't get it. I don't know.
How about Happy Gilmore? Wasn't bad.
What?
Happy People love that movie.
I've never sat through that whole thing.
Me neither.
Jesus Christ.
So, but I'm going to judge it. I never sat through it.
Right.
I don't get it. And what do you have to lose, Howard? If she trashes Sandler, that could put her out of the running for a job with a movie that could be successful and she needs in her career. What are you going to do? Boost her up and help her out? No. So you can afford to trash somebody.
Yeah. And
She
I mean,
can't.
inviting. But the other thing is, you're not going to get these SNL people to really go after others unless they're completely ostracized. Like if they, I don't know, Charlie Rocket or some marginalized person who, like, Gilbert's always going to make his money off of stand-up. It's not going to be from being a movie star. So he can talk shit about just about anybody, but he wouldn't if he really thought. There's no filter to Gilbert, but he's not one to trash people necessarily.
Right. I mean, you have to have your own. You don't have to rely on people to make your money.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can afford the luxury to trash whatever you want. But Howard puts these people in positions that they can't do that, and he knows that, and he won't back them if they do, and he has to deal with the fallout. Sarah Silverman says she were to trash him and then doesn't get a movie role for years and years. Do you think she's going to go to Howard and say, hey, can you help me out? I went along with that bit. He'd be like, go screw.
Yeah.
I don't know you anything. Free content. Bye.
That's it. You said it, not me.
The only one I've watched all the way through was one where he went back to school.
Which one was that?
The football movie was the worst ever.
Which one is that?
Waterboy is the football movie.
That was the worst ever.
I think I'm talking about Billy Madison or something like that.
I watched Waterboy. I got all the way through that one.
Really?
Yeah, I got through it.
I like The Wedding Singer.
That actually was good. That was
the one with Drew Barrymore?
That was
awful.
That was better than the other ones, but it wasn't a good movie.
Longest movie in history.
Can we talk about me?
These people have the worst taste in films ever. I don't know anybody that hated the Wedding Singer. Anybody?
I love The Wedding Singer. I think that the chemistry between him and Drew was so cute and palpable. I absolutely love that movie. The fact they threw in Billy Idol, the whole 80s vibe of it. I love Steve, what's his name? Steve.
The guy's name.
He's the drunk who's in The Sopranos. He was the uncle who got shot in the head.
Steve
and they had
Sharippa?
to bury. No, the hell? He's a scrawny guy with the bug eyes.
You mean from? You're not talking about Frank Sivero, who does he's Sicilian in Goodfellas. He plays Frankie Carbone. He's this scrawny guy with the bug eyes, and he was the drunk at the Wedding Singer, and he's like making a toast, and he's like, Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi, thank you. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember the last name, and I absolutely love his whole role in that. He's like, Dad. How about me, Dad? What about me? And he's like, okay.
At the end, when he started his own band and he started singing True. I think again, it's all, the other thing is it's subjective. If you don't like something, you don't like it, fine. It's not your cup of tea. But Robin just joining on, I never found this funny. Okay, fine. It's not your cup of tea. Move on. Like they're getting enjoyment out of talking shit. So it's clear that whole narcissistic, what was the thing Bob said? They love watching people fail. They love.
It's a sport for them. It's an absolute game watching sport for them. And also, if they sound like they don't even really watch the films. So what the fuck are you talking about? You don't even really watch them. So how do you know?
That's right. If you're not just you at least watch the whole thing through. I've had to sit through some serious shit like to get through.
Oh, hello!
So,
look at this podcast.
Exactly. The next clip is from May 22nd of 2002. Robin talking shit about Mr. Deeds, another film I didn't see. Was that as awful as it sounded?
There were some parts that I laughed, but for the most part, it was pretty heinous. It was just not great. Yeah,
Okay.
It wasn't great. There were some parts where he yelled poop. There was a part where they yelled poop really loud, which I laughed at. That was about it. And it was just because it was long, exaggerated, and drawn out, and I wasn't expecting it. But other parts, there was just, I don't know, it wasn't great.
Okay.
It's
That's my review.
They got Melanie Griffith in this one. It's just, but it's still, the kids love it. It's still well done.
It says here, Road to Perdition made $47 million so far.
Yeah, so far. It has made money.
That's good, right?
But it's not a blockbuster.
But you know what? You got to explain to me, since you understand everything, WorldCom, this and that, what is up with Adam Sandler?
Yeah, I know.
I can't figure it out. I went to see this movie. I would rather have you pour acid in my eyes.
Right.
Listening to her is like acid in my fucking ears. Now, that's fine. It's an opinion. She didn't like it. Fine, whatever. Now they're going to go on. Please.
I will say it's like, okay, if you grew up on Sandler movies, enjoyed them, and then they started declining like Mr. Deeds,
right?
Yeah, you would have some sort of disappointment. But if you never really liked Sandler to begin with or didn't give it a shot, and that was what you decided to go see, you would really not like Adam Sandler. So I don't blame her for this.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get him either.
It's 13-year-olds.
You know what? Why don't Casey come in and explain them? Because Casey probably saw the movie.
I like him too, man.
You know the part when he farts?
Yeah. So this is what you of all people?
Yeah. Yeah. Remember when you got on the MTV stage and made Luke Perry so uncomfortable he wanted to die? He probably took like 10 showers.
And felt the need to recreate it with using John Stamos in your movie. And there was, God. I remember when they did, like, I didn't laugh at the MTV, like the actual video footage of it. And I certainly didn't laugh in the private parts version of it because it still wasn't funny. The concept wasn't funny. So
even if you reframe it in the private parts, it's a bomb.
It is. It's completely a bomb. And you know how much that must have cost to remake that? Like to get the thing and lower him from the ceiling and stuff and all this production and create an audience and all this shit. Oh, Christ.
And you have to pay celebrities to be in the cameo of it. It's terrible. And it still wasn't funny. It still didn't prove the point. His whole point of doing that was saying, they don't get it. I'm misunderstood. No, you're not. It was awful then. It's awful now. It's awful always. But you don't understand the fart.
Right.
Aren't you the guys swinging from the rafters with your butt cheeks, blowing away podiums? Fuck you.
I'll tell you, you know what the worst movie I ever saw was?
His early stuff is better.
The worst movie I ever saw, what was the football movie? Where he was the Waterboy. That was like painful. It was it made $150 million?
You know who's funny now? Did you see the size of Jerry Lewis's head?
Oh, my God. That is painful to look at.
Yeah, man, I don't want to get whatever he's got.
He sort of looked like Larry Flint.
I loved crabby Jerry Lewis.
Oh, he was the best.
And God. Some of the funniest things.
Telethon.
Yeah, some of the funniest things is when Jerry Lewis is old and he has to sit down for interviews and he doesn't give a flying fuck. And he's just a mean old man. The purposefully the things that aren't supposed to be funny to me for Jerry Lewis are funny. I love when he's a crotchety old prick. Like, get off my lawn, guy.
I was listening to a Dave Thomas interview on Gilbert Gottfried, the Gilbert podcast ages ago. It was one of the best interviews I've ever heard. Never mind one of the best Dave Thomas interviews. And he has a theory that after Jerry did The Nutty Professor, the original, and discovered the Buddy Love character, he liked it. He realized he wanted to be that person in real life. So he became Buddy Love later on. And I think there's a lot of truth to that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And on the other hand, I've heard him in interviews. Like there's a Brian Linehan interview from '83 when he's promoting The King of Comedy, the Scorsese film, and he's fawning, of course, because he starts it off by telling him about a minute story about thank you for all those nights at the Bijou and all the that made my Saturday night so enjoyable because I was such a moviegoer. And Lewis is flattered, but also at that point Linehan already had a reputation of being the person in Canada you go to for an interview about real film and filmmaking, so you don't fuck about. So Jerry in advance probably knew this isn't going to be a fluff interview, so you take it seriously and don't fuck around. More recently, that one famous one from 2017 where people were giving Jerry Lewis shit for giving one-word answers. The guy was an idiot interviewer. He had no idea what he was doing. He had no idea what Jerry Lewis was about. I'm not saying Lewis isn't a prick for other reasons. Certainly the way he treated his family is pretty awful. But if you don't go armed to those fucking interviews, you're going to get smoked.
100%. And I didn't fault him for a minute. The way they tried to pose that situation, I sided with Jerry. I was like, good, be the crotchety old fuck, screaming, get off my lawn, basically, to this guy. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. It was amazing. Good. Give one-word answers and tell him to fuck off and goodbye.
Yeah. And if you're that age, you don't have much time left and you're wasting it with this little fucking twink asking you stupid questions. Fuck off,
Agreed.
So, anyway, let's continue.
But they had a picture of him in the paper making that zany laugh face.
Yeah.
What's that head?
Hey!
I got a big head!
He reinvented himself.
I'll tell you, I said 10 years ago, it's painful to watch a guy that old stick. Remember he puts the glass in his mouth and claps like a seal?
Yeah. What? Explain Adam Sandler to us.
Dude, you know it's like I'm a pagan crap right now because the whole week it's Adam Sandler week on like one of these channels, things like USA or something like that. Yeah. Every one of his movies is on. You got Billy Madison.
So explain. Did you see the new one?
No, I haven't seen. I haven't been to the movies.
See, I don't understand.
But I'm psyched to see it though.
Fan.
Yeah, I am. But I'm going to see it as soon as it comes out in Blockbuster. I'm going to go down and see it. Oh. Yeah, this guy just don't have time.
Casey's going to come out in Blockbuster about 6 months from now.
Okay, poor Casey, a lone soldier in an army of. I mean, already said he defended. He said the early films were better, and that's your stance as well.
That's my stance as well. I also, I mean, what is Howard doing on the weekends? What is he watching? Like reruns of Buffy? I mean, fuck you.
Dawson's Creek, Smallville.
I know I loved because I was a teenager, but to pretend that you have some really acquired amazing taste and you should be able to pronounce judgments on people. What?
Like, it's amazing when you're 45 and 50 and you have teen angst.
Oh my God, I know. He's just like a word. He's just like, I get it. Yeah, you were really moved by Joey coming through the window and Dawson giving some giant monologue and you had to bring it up. I mean, you shouldn't be watching the WB in your 40s. I'm sorry. Just no.
There's certain things you shouldn't be watching unless, like, if you're watching it with your kid and you're doing something else. Yeah, I get it. That makes
if my dad ever sat down to watch an episode of Dawson's Creek with me, I would respect him less.
Okay, the next clip is from the same year, 2002, December 11th, and Rob Schneider comes in to promote one of his films. I think it was, I don't know if it was Deuce Bigalow, the first one or the second one. I could be wrong, but either way, they're discussing Sandler.
A few guys who are really working really hard. It's like Jim Downey, Rob Smigel, Adam Sandler, who I know you're a big fan of. And
you know what? I like his dog, and I like that on the website and everything.
You guys honestly are both legendary Jews. You guys should, whatever, I don't know what happened. Honestly, you're the king of all media.
Of course.
He's the king of the box office. And you both are the most loyal people in show business. I'm his Robin Cooper.
He sat behind me on an...
So this is a testament because it's true what Rob's saying, because like we just discussed it earlier, a lot of those guys are loyal to each other. They'll give each other parts. If Farley were alive, he would have been Kevin James in Grown Ups.
Yeah, I mean, Sandler's super loyal to that crowd of comedy and those comedians, and those people.
Yeah. He'll
always cast them in movies. They are never without a job.
That's right. And
even to this day.
But it's funny, like Howard's loyal. Like you could not compare two vastly dissimilar. You cannot be more vastly opposed in like personality. You want to talk loyalty. There's a flip side. Wiggy is the flip side.
Well, I think back in 2002, you can assume loyalty means because look at how long you've kept this cast of characters and employed these people, not realizing the literal baloney that he's throwing at these people and hoping that they can make a living and survive. He is loyal to these people only because they require such little sustenance to keep providing free content. And that goes the same with comedians and everybody else that he uses, which we've talked about at great length.
And if people knew, for example, because we didn't quite understand until way later, I believe, the Jackie negotiations and how they, until Jackie decided to open the book on the whole thing and write the book, exactly how underhanded the whole process was. And you go like, well, there is no loyalty. There's absolutely no, and then none. And then you see the things, the underhanded shit, like, blocking Artie from gigs, telling these guys, that's one thing we did start hearing. You can't do the side gigs, all that shit. That's not loyalty. That's being a real disingenuous asshole.
Right. It's not loyalty. And you'll see as far his loyalty will go as long as you don't ask for any more money. And you keep providing free content and you don't ask to be credited for anything. Then, yeah, sure, he's a real loyal lapdog. Fuck off.
A couple of years ago, and he didn't talk to me.
You just practice not talking to me.
Yeah, he didn't talk to me, and I wouldn't talk to him. It was like
he's the nicest guy, and it's like, and...
I don't care, though, if I'm liked or not.
No.
This whole plane thing will come up later as well. Like they saw each other on a plane and they wouldn't talk to each other. And if you were Adam Sandler in 2002, 2001, and you saw him, I mean, wouldn't you? If I were him, I would have told him go fuck himself personally.
I feel this such disdain for celebrities who, because they've heard he's evolved, which is really, I want to be liked. I would have no qualms about never talking to him. I respect J-Lo so much more. I don't care if you produce musical garbage. I love you for sticking to your guns and realizing he is a fraud.
Well, when Sandler did come in 2015, did you respect him less for showing up?
I liked what Sandler had to say, but I didn't. I thought the interview was a little angsty in the sense of I could tell he didn't really say what I wanted him to say. I really want Wiggy to get shit. I want him to say, this is why I don't like what you did, and just spell it out without dancing around it. And nobody seems to do that. And I hate that about celebrities. Like, no, don't dance around it. Just be bold-faced, honest. He was honest about you. Be honest right back to his face.
It's very, very rare that someone actually calls Howard out on his bullshit. Like Jason Ellis the one time said, like, you're so angsty. Why don't you meditate? You do TM, right? Why don't you meditate? That's the whole purpose. And then talking shit about Robin, like, you never had a relationship. You never had a kid. You're telling me about relationships and children.
Right. I mean, exactly. Like, how dare you?
More people needed to come in and tell them what for, and they never did. And Sandler came in twice, I believe, in 2018. We're not going to go into that. We're just going to focus on the 2015 interview, and only a short segment of it because a lot of it is complete bullshit.
No, I know, but honestly, though, you're a legend, and you changed your medium.
Thank you.
You changed a medium. I mean, how many guys in the history of show business have done that? And
I think Adam got mad because I criticized some of his movies. I said some of them I just don't get.
Which one did you get?
I don't think I got any of them.
It's the thing about Adam, though, honestly, there was a thing where he did this thing on Saturday Night Live. Adam's not a guy you can get the first time. Like Elvis Costello, you got to...
He's not my thing. It's not. I don't have anything against the guy. I just don't think he's funny.
Okay, and that's valid enough. And I was with Howard with this, basically, except that even then I could see through his jealousy. Like, there's no two ways about it. And he said it himself. How does all these shit films make money? I could see it, but then say what it is. I'm jealous. He's making shitloads of money. I don't get these films. I don't understand it, and I'm jealous as fuck. He never says that.
See, I would respect this opinion more if he didn't like such awful things and cavil over such horrible, non-funny, terrible things, whether it be music or movies or acting
TV.
or whatever. So because of his opinion is so worthless,
Yes.
But for example, my dad never got Sandler,
Mm-hmm.
Ever. So he was in the Howard camp of this opinion, but I trust that opinion because my dad does like things that are actually funny and respects comedy.
Right.
So that's fine. He's not watching fucking The Bachelor and then ramming an Adam Sandler film.
Right.
It makes sense. It
Right.
goes with the thread. Howard, on the other hand, who the fuck cares what you think?
Well, you believe in the idea that there is such a thing as good taste. There's people whose taste you respect based on the knowledge of their likes and dislikes, and they're consistent.
Right. Like trusting John Hine to, judge fine dining or something. No.
Trusting Robin about diets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Please. I feel the tumor in my stomach already.
Elvis Costello, I can hear his album the first time and I hate it, and the second time, the third time, the fourth time I start to get into it, and then Adams he did this character on Saturday Night Live, Iraqi Pete, which got cut after dress rehearsal, and we went upstairs and we looked at it, and it was the first time we didn't really laugh, and the second time we saw it we started laughing, the third time you see noticing he's crossing his eyes, he's making faces. By the fifth time we're falling on the floor.
That's my problem. I don't have enough time to watch the 5 times.
You don't have to get to the
I gotta.
Don't have enough. You have nothing but time, you fucking prick.
All time. Nobody
Yeah.
cares about you. You don't care about your family. All you have is time.
Yeah, you don't have to babysit. I mean, you maybe the bodyguards do when you're at the Knicks games, but you just take Ashley while you're looking to be.
You don't
noticed.
you don't even have time to cut up potatoes.
Learn how to use the laundry machine.
I got a
Coffee machine.
Funny to me.
He's a rhythm guy.
It's not that I dislike the guy personally or anything like that. I was not a fan of the movie. I wasn't going to lie. It's like Deuce Bigelow. I wouldn't say that it means something that if I say I like a movie, because Deuce Bigelow's a goddamn great movie. It's funny as hell. You cannot stop laughing.
And again, taste is subjective. If something doesn't strike your fancy, then it doesn't. There's some things that are not quantifiable and they're not qualifiable. You just, for some reason, don't get somebody. If you don't like a singer of a band, the music doesn't matter. You're just not going to listen to them.
Yeah, it's the same with fashion or anything else. I like some certain people's style and others I don't. That doesn't mean somebody else won't like the way they dress.
Right. I love the songs on Lush's second album, Spooky, but I hated the fucking production, so I never listened to it anymore. And I barely listened to it when I did, but I love the songs live. Big, that's a quantifiable difference. And I admire Howard on some level for at least saying this. But again, it's predicated on a number of falsehoods. Like he doesn't want to say, I just wish I had that success in my career. And that he does later. He says, couldn't be happy about other people's success, but he's not really talking about his own jealousy.
It's a viable message, but it's the wrong messenger.
I think so. Yeah.
It's one of those movies.
Well, thanks.
And I recognize Adam had a hand in that one, and great for him. But why do everyone's so fake in Hollywood? It's like you think Barbara Walters, when she interviews Adam Sandler, is an Adam Sandler fan?
No.
Oh yeah. You know what
I'm saying? So if I'm honest and I go, I don't like a movie right away. Oh, I'm the bad guy. I'm a piece of garbage.
It's just that
In actual fact, Barbara would interview people she admired.
Yeah, she did. That's why she had that. What was it? The 10 most interesting or something every year that everybody watched.
Oh yeah.
And Howard, what do you like about Bella Thorne? Her weed smoking or her pussy popping videos? I mean, stop it. You like her journal entries, you stupid asshole. I mean, come on.
Okay. The next clip, April 14th, 2003. He's fucking on the film Anger Management. That was with Jack Nicholson. Again, I didn't see that film, and I hate Nicholson, so that was a no-brainer for me. Just avoid. But
I thought this was going to be great. I remember going to see it because I was like, oh, Jack Nicholson, Adam Sandler. Sure. I remember just thinking, this film is so long. This is so long. Why is this movie oh my God, it felt like it was never going to end. It could have wrapped it up so much faster. I did not. I was annoyed throughout the whole movie. It was one of those films where bad things happen to people bad things happen to the character that you just are annoyed by because they shouldn't be happening. So they have to deal with certain circumstances, but you're annoyed by it because they don't deserve it to begin with. And then you tie it up all in a nice bow that is an hour too long. It was terrible.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's an interesting criticism because I know that they just top loaded it. And a lot of people would just go because, wow, what a combination. Adam and Nicholson. You never seen that before. So that was one where the name helped sell the tickets, I believe.
Well, of course. But that's my review. So.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the Matrix will be, but I couldn't believe Adam Sandler's numbers this weekend.
Holy mackerel. Did you see that? Adam Sandler and Jack Nicholson made...
Could you picture Howard going to the Matrix? I just picture his eyes crossing and like
he looked like he was trying to get a part on the Matrix when he's in that Rob Zombie video, the Private Parts premiere.
I just could picture him going to the Matrix and just like, like an Austin Powers fembot, just like exploding, like I don't get it.
I'm gonna have to make a few Matrix photoshops using Overcoat Howard.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Matthew Schulz, that's your next assignment.
$45 million this weekend. And the movie didn't even get good reviews.
Knocked me over with a feather. I said, all right, it's going to be number one, but by how much?
Tell you what.
Oh, ridiculous.
I'm going to shut up from now on when it comes to Adam Sandler and admit I just don't get it.
Right.
By the way, Private Parts got a shitload of decent reviews and did not do well. So what's the point? Loads of films that don't perform with critics perform with audiences. Beverly Hills Ninja actually made money, and I don't think I saw a good review.
I mean, again, it's this subjective audience. It's all subjective. So what are you going to do?
The movie looked really bad, though.
Who went? Do you know anyone who went to see Anger Management?
No.
I don't either. It must be like the Midwest.
And he must be kicking.
Oh, fuck
yeah,
you.
The flyover states. There's shitloads of theaters.
He just has such disdain for the Midwest.
Yeah. That's something I talked about with Deborah. It's like, how did you ever expect to expand to those markets when you do nothing but shitting on, Idaho or fucking Kansas or fucking, Missouri.
And not only that, but he, as an elite New Yorker, which is, the coast to coast, the California, New York elites or whatever, he's even a horrible New York elite. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't even play in that playground. He just stays home and orders Nobu takeout and calls it a night.
If you had him in charge of the tourist brochures for New York City tourism, you just see a basement closet. Go see and it's just black. It's just nothing.
You just see somebody hiding. Oh God! You know what? I would just wish, that Seinfeld episode where Kramer has to take George's in-laws. It's their anniversary, so he's going to be the horse carriage driver, but he feeds the horse beefaroni. so he shows up and George is all excited to send him off. Like, I picture Howard like that, just doe in the woods.
Yeah.
Even though he lives there, he has no idea what's going on. And I just want a horse to just fart all over him while he's on a fucking carriage ride. He has no idea what's going on in the city, even in his own elite playground. He has no connection with people.
Hence why his affinity for horses.
Wondering, how could they not have liked Little Nicky?
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference?
Every other piece of crap I do, what was wrong with that piece of crap?
And I've heard people speculate why Little Nicky didn't do well.
Really?
And I'm like, well, how dare you? How dare you?
Okay. And the next clip is from 2005, May 26th. This is goofing again to Sandler, goofing on Sandler to Chris Rock, who's coming in to promote, I think it was The Longest Yard, which, by the way, I love some of the people in that, but you should not have remade that. The original is so fucking good.
So that's one my dad saw with me because he loved the original Longest Yard, and he just thought it was the biggest pile of shit ever.
It was.
He hated it. Hated it.
there are things that you don't remake, like they did The Heavenly Kid. Was it The Heavenly Kid or the Heartbreak? No, it was The Heartbreak Kid. Heartbreak Kid, Ben Stiller did a remake, and the original was Charles Grodin, and the original did not need to be remade. The Pink Panther did not need to be remade. So many fucking films. Yeah, and just don't do it, guys. Just leave them alone. You should know better. And I think, and Burt Reynolds played the coach in the remake, and I'm sure he was just taking the fucking paycheck because at that point he was.
I know, because Lonnie Anderson cleaned his fucking clock.
Oh God.
God damn! Could you imagine? I always read like his mom, Burt Reynolds' mom, hated Lonnie Anderson from the beginning. Yeah. After all the dust had settled, I'm like, no kidding. You would just look at that, and all you think of is the only equivalent I could think is Howard's parents looking at Beth.
Oh yeah.
I mean, seriously, she's the Lonnie Anderson of his life.
Lonnie Anderson, I have to be honest, I never saw The Attraction, and not because I'm not into blondes, but Jesus Christ, Bailey Quarters, like Jan Smithers was way cuter and way sexier.
My dad loves Sally Field. So he used to date Sally Field back when she was young, and he just thought she was the cutest thing. And when he married Lonnie Anderson, it was like a just gag reflex.
It was. And if you didn't see that fucking broad was just like a gold digging hooker. I mean, Bruce, Bert at that point was like just in full denial. And if the fascinating story of his life, like his book, the last one he did, was actually a great read, and he talks about Jim Brown being friends, Ozzie Davis. He talks about being friends with what's his name, World War II veteran, Charles Durning. Amazing fucking stories about the business, stuntmen, everything, Brando, all these things. And when he explains how he fucked up his entire fortune, it's fascinating.
I know, and then it just so amazes me that people like Howard, Alec Baldwin, Burt Reynolds will then go after these Lonnie Anderson types like Beth or Ilaria Hillary. And it's like, this just tanked your whole credibility for a dumb Butana. Like, I just don't understand.
You were getting close to Uncle Paulie. Butana. Jesus Christ. I think at any rate, I that's a sidetrack, guys, but either way, Sandler doing favors. So I think Chris Rock's in this, Joey Diaz is in it as well. Some wrestlers are in it, and it made money. Like The Longest Yard was a successful remake, but it just still shouldn't have been made.
Because now you're in Adam Sandler's movie. It's not your movie.
When you watch it, I'm there.
And Adam Sandler,
movie, but
Sandler plays a tough guy, like the.
This is the. I mean, you're not a fan.
But
you're not a fan.
I liked one of his movies.
Which one? A fan.
Are you a fan?
And he liked one of yours.
Oh, there you go. We're in.
Zing.
That's so good.
It's not that I'm not a fan. There's a couple of comedy bits he does I like. It's just I can't picture him.
So it went to I like one of his movies to I like his comedy bits. He couldn't name a movie.
He didn't ever say he liked a movie, and he never said he liked a comedy bit.
Later on, he'll adjust that, but right here, yeah.
Is it like he plays the rough and tough guy in prison? Like, doesn't he at one point in the movie go up and go, "Hey, I just want to do my time and get out of here"?
No, that's not what happened. So, first of all, this premise of the conversation is entirely erroneous. He was a rich football player who was a drunk and then got arrested for a DWI. Not in any of that was a tough guy, pretend tough guy. That never happened. Well, he actually got a hard time given to him in the beginning of the movie.
So another thing we didn't bother seeing. So he's just basing it on what people have told him about the film or whatever bullshit.
Right, yeah.
Gary saw some of it.
There's a part in the movie where the guard goes to hit him with the nightstick and Adam grabs it. And he stops him.
Hey, come on. We're not Sandler bashing here.
No, we're not. I'm just saying that Adam Sandler's not.
It's Sylvester Stallone's the heavyweight champion of the world, right? Yeah. That's fine.
It's acting.
Is it a good?
And you're straight with this fucking bim on your arm, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sylvester Stallone's the heavyweight champion of the world.
Be a pal to me.
Oh, yeah. He's just going to knock out George Foreman.
But
you got a problem with Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Yeah, like you can't suspend reality for 5 seconds. Yeah, some 105-pound girl is beating up vampires. I mean, you can't fucking suspend reality, Howard.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Is this a good movie or not?
This is a great movie.
It is.
It's a great movie.
You're being serious?
No, I'm being serious.
All right, I'm going to like it. I like the original.
This is the breakthrough.
This is the best Sandler movie. It's best rock movie. Best.
It is.
Yeah, it's.
Better
look
than
at the reviews. Look at it. I mean, come on.
Rock is such a shitty actor. Even he can't sell this. And the truth is, I don't think I've liked Chris in anything since New Jack City. And CB4 was such a piece of shit. He was in so many bombs. And his own film career, Howard was very negative towards. He said, look, he's amazing at stand-up, but Chris's films are just not good. And they aren't.
I like Chris at stand-up. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I think he figured out his niche early on, in that if he gets a film, he's grateful and he'll fucking defend. But he's like Spade. They'll always defend Sandler. There's just no way, and they're not going to.
I actually wish Chris, right now in this personal climate of I don't know how things are, I wish Chris would do more to talk about how he does it a little bit, about how comedians are so afraid and stepping on toes now, and how that's just completely silencing the industry and strangleholding it. I wish he would do that more. I respect Chris as a stand-up comic.
Are they good?
They're great.
Because you fooled me before.
Oh, stop it.
No, go ahead.
I'll tell you what, he did the MTV Music Awards. He hosted them.
Mm-hmm.
That was, back then, I think it was 2000 or 2001, or maybe both.
I think you're right.
It was one of the funniest fucking monologues I have ever. I remember watching that as a family in our living room and just dying. He went after everyone, from R. Kelly to the Olsen twins to Britney Spears. I mean, he just went off, and he was hilarious. He's a great host, and he's a great stand-up.
Yeah, I mean, he's I'm sure he's learned now, just don't fucking bother with movies. And if someone tosses you a bone, then you take it, because it keeps your fucking, SAG, and what was the other one? ACTRA, all those film, unions in pays your dues for you. But ultimately, he's best at stand-up. You're right. And he's better as a guest. He's better as anything, like just talking stuff. This is January 5th, 2009. A bit of a lag there, because I guess there's not a couple of years there where you don't really hear much about Sandler, except if it's to other guests like Jim Brewer, and it's not really that much. But there's a film Adam produced called House Bunny with Anna Faris. I never saw it.
I saw that.
Okay.
Yeah, it was right up there with one of those. At the time, well, it had hot girl elements to it. It also had Demi Moore's daughter in it, so that was a little bit of an interesting hook to it. The older one, Rumor. This was popular. People liked the House Bunny, and I remember during that time period there was the Girls Next Door, which was a reality show, which was on the E! Network, which was super popular, which was basically just Hef in his disgusting mansion.
That's what I thought.
Girlfriend horrors living there, and everything seemed fun and fancy free, even though the house was just decrepit and had dog poop all over it and never redecorated since 1979. It was I saw the there was someone who did an article, it might have been for Vulture, I can't remember exactly, but the guy had taken pictures at the mansion, and it literally was, you're right, the same wood paneling and same phones they installed in the 70s, and nothing had been redecorated, and the paneling was, everything needed redoing. And they just did, but it was clear, like the Playboy name was nothing really anymore. It was just a name from the past. But this revitalized it. This Girls Next Door thing revitalized it, and it got popular again. So this House Bunny movie was pretty popular. I remember.
But he's just producing it. He's not in it. Like, it's not you wouldn't call it an Adam Sandler picture. So I don't know why he's calling it that, but it's just an excuse to talk shit about him.
I actually, when it came out, I never even associated Adam Sandler with it.
Right. Because if you look at his if you look at his filmography, rather, and I'll just go through, I won't bother, but Paul Blart Mall Cop was one. Joe Dirt, Spade mentioned. What was the one that I think a couple Schneider films, The Hot Chick. I think that might have been a Sandler production as well. So they did have a lot of stuff on the go. And then, so it was clear Sandler wanted to put his finger in a bunch of pies, and you can't blame him. You don't always want to be the star and have everything hinge on you. It behooves you to create new stars and become more on the other side of the camera, become a power player.
Right. You don't want to be starring in your own biography every time. And, have a wig parade presented to you.
And make everything about you.
I rented this movie called House Bunny. It's an Adam Sandler production.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
It's about a girl who used to work at the Playboy Mansion, and she becomes the house mother to a sorority. Now, to me, that sounds like a big laugh.
Yeah, you said you couldn't wait to see that movie being promoted.
What's that?
Why would that sound like a big laugh?
Well, because he laughs at stupid things. He laughs at the simplest possible plot. Okay. Are you really going to question his taste?
That's true.
A guy who loved Smallville.
So that looks good.
Use that.
It's great.
Another WB gem.
He was watching, looking at Lex Luthor.
The movie is horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so bad. And I up afterwards, and the movie's made $50 million so far between theatrical release and DVD and stuff.
He's got a most amazing career.
You see, yeah, anyone could be in a movie like Milk. That you understand.
He's talking about the Sean Penn film about Harvey Milk at the time. Anybody can be in a film like that.
What is he even saying? Anybody could be in a movie like Milk. No, they'd have to write the movie Milk, and then they'd have to cast the movie Milk.
That's
what is he talking about?
He's an idiot. He's just retarded. He's like, I think he's just been following. There's an excuse to talk shit about Sandler.
Anybody can drink milk. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But not this, you fuck. Yeah. What do you mean?
This guy Sandler can take shitty scripts and sell them to the public. I've never seen anything like it. But I will say this. The girl who plays House Bunny,
Ferris, I think.
She's great. And I'll tell you why. Because anybody who could be in a movie that shitty, I watched the thing all the way through because of her.
Wow.
All the way through. And so did Beth, and so did Beth's brother, and so did Beth's brother's wife. We all sat there and watched the whole thing. The whole time we complained, and we watched the whole thing because this girl is interesting to watch.
Okay. So I've never watched a film all the way through because of one person's performance, except when, if something was bad, I just stopped watching it. It does some things a performance can't save. You could say it's a really good performer, but I'm not going to watch something all the way through just because of one person.
When you become a parent, you have to watch a lot of bad things all the way through because of your child.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, it is not a treat.
Give me an example.
It is one of those things. If anybody wants to have kids, don't have kids if you care about watching movies all the way through because you're going to sit through a lot of fucking horse manure.
Yeah.
It's awful. I mean, just piles and piles of it.
Well, at any rate, I clipped another bit from 2012, June 18th. So it's like a year before, well, not a year, but getting towards the summit. And now he's sort of hemming and hawing about Adam Sandler not wanting to come in for an interview, but saying hey, get over it. Get over it. I've trashed your movies, but get over it. So he's desperate to have him come in. So it's definitely Marcy thing, let's get an A-list guest, whatever. And I don't know, I guess Adam's A-list even in 2012, but it's just why don't you have Jay Leno in? Why why don't you get over that? Why don't you get over the Stuttering John thing? Who the fuck are you to talk about people getting over things?
I like how when he talks about getting over things, it's when he wants to get over things. It's never about how the other person feels. He never reaches out to them and has, an evolution would be realizing your mistakes that you've made or feeling bad about them and then personally reaching out to that person and said, listen, I was making my bones in my career making fun of popular things and I said some nasty things and reaching out to them. No, his evolution is I'm going to hire some grifter and she's going to reach out to you and how dare you not get back to me?
Right, and I'm also going to block and edit certain clips, or I'm going to like eliminate them altogether from YouTube, so you can't hear exactly what a legitimate asshole I was being. And there's some things you can't whitewash. You just can't. And those people, like whoever it was, he said that wouldn't forgive him. And I'm sure it's Billy Crystal. I'm pretty 100% on that. Kudos to them to having the sack to say fuck you. Like,
well, after Billy Crystal's whole New Orleans tribute, when New Orleans was going through their what was it,
Hurricane Katrina,
and he did the whole he did that whole monologue in the voice of a jazz man. Jazz man. That's when I was like, I don't care how much anybody hates Billy Crystal, he deserves it. That was, I can't even with that. So good. If Howard hates Billy Crystal from now to the end of time, I'm right there with him.
I'm also not a Billy Crystal supporter or fan, really. Like, after a certain point, he just got irritating to me. So, but I do applaud that if that's the case, if that's the one he can't get at because he's apologized to, fake apology. But there's always fake apology. And even Sandler, he doesn't actually apologize within the quote unquote apology. So here we go. June 18th, 2012.
Well, it was a bad weekend to open a movie because Rock of Ages didn't make any money. And what was the other one that didn't make money?
Adam Sandler's movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my boy.
He's had 2 shitty movies in a row that didn't do well at the box office. You know, for years.
What does that mean?
I know Adam Sandler won't come in the show because I've, in the past, criticized his movies. I guess that's the reason. But, I mean, am I the only one criticizing the content in his movies?
Yeah.
That's a fair assessment, but then by the same token, then he will probably refuse to talk to a lot of people that criticized him. Those same people that criticized the other critics, he won't give them any fucking play.
And what does Howard do when anybody criticizes Howard? Ruins your career?
Totally.
I mean, on the flip side of the coin, Howard, what do you do when people criticize you? Do you have them on the show to come discuss and talk about it? No. You shadow box them, and then you basically try to knock their career off into oblivion.
Right,
So,
Wendy Williams. What about those anchors in?
I don't
where was
understand.
it? What was that anchor in? Like somewhere in
some
Florida?
probably Midwest.
Oh, Utah. I can't remember, but anyway, somewhere where they just trashed him, and the clip was provided for him, and he fucking shit all over them. And it wasn't even, a Fox News person, or it wasn't an MSNBC person talking shit about him.
It would be like a local person who goes on and does the weather.
Yeah, and makes a dig at his expense.
And he was like, yeah, they probably got fucked. Like,
someone fucked their brains out.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yes, I think so.
I guess so. I mean, I was always kind of surprised that Adam Sandler's movies did well. I didn't think they were particularly good or funny. And I just kind of said, like, that I guess that's just me. There's some things that Adam Sandler does I think are really funny. And I've always said I don't know. But
okay. So first of all, I do like the consistency. He never thought he was funny. That's at least honest.
Yeah, the movies anyway.
So he's consistent in that regard. But he does these things now when he wants to have him on. But there are things that I credit him for when I think he's funny. He has never, since we've been listening to this, gave him a credit for anything that's funny.
Well, and by the way, guys, I was not being selective with clips. The Chuck and Larry one I didn't get just because it was very short, but I did at least say the one. Oh no, actually I don't think I recorded that here, but we can say it. In 2008, I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, the one he did with Kevin James, where they pretend to be gay for some. That's the premise. I don't remember. I didn't watch it. Did you see it?
Yeah, Howard's just jealous he wasn't cast in it.
Exactly. Which the one about a gay theme he likes. Go figure. So there are things he has talked about, but and then they used to play the off the first album at a medium pace. They'd play that on the show quite often. That one bit, but that's that one bit, and then he talks shit about him on SNL. They've flip flopped on a few things, but. It's uniformly okay. Yeah, he makes money, but I don't understand why. That's the whole idea.
I want to make all the money.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even though it has nothing to do with my trajectory or my career, I still think nobody should be making any money. Everybody should be poor, and only I should have money.
Give me the box office.
Liked him on Saturday Night Live.
Loved him on Saturday Night Live. Loved that comedy album we play.
You did?
He loved one track. Never listened to the rest of it. He's full of shit. His dirty album, as if there's only one. I love it.
Award shows where he's absolutely fantastically hysterical. And he's got a lot of brilliant ideas. It's just that, like, in the movies, it almost seems like...
You've never said, this is the first time you're hearing he has a lot of brilliant ideas. Like, the biggest problem, of course, is that, like, now he's in the turnaround. You can hear it in his voice. Like, he's angling for a fucking interview. The same way more recently, it's Jagger. I need Jagger to come in on all this shit. But it's definitely, now we're going into that, because now he's also into AGT. He just got signed and he's doing that. So he's trying to soften his image and try to get these big A-list guests. Desperate.
Yeah, now he's like, oh, of course I'd be a great judge. And he took it totally seriously. Fast forward to selling the book on Colbert. Why would anybody pick me to judge? It was a goof.
I love that.
They're just not trying all that hard.
But his movies would make a ton of money.
Yeah, and good for him. I mean, listen, certainly I know that a lot of people don't like me, but I still go on their shows.
Like who? Like Leno?
Yeah, what? Letterman and... I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pretty sure this last tour I did, everybody hated me. I mean, but what do I care? I mean, it's like, okay, you don't like me, you don't like me. What am I going to do?
Well, maybe he's afraid of being attacked.
No, I'm not going to attack him.
Well, people have these perceptions.
Yeah, well, he should get over it.
I wonder where he got the perception from.
Go figure.
That I know.
Basically fishing for every person that Howard's had on that's in the Adam Sandler zeitgeist. He's gone after them and attacked Adam Sandler. Anybody who's even had a friend. I sat next to Adam Sandler. What about those shitty movies?
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, yeah, I tried to pick a cross section of clips. I got like 10, 11 clips here, and I know I missed some. I know it because there's some gaps in my collection. Jesus.
Just listen to this whitewash.
Yeah.
I would interview him about his life, but that's okay. I'll be just fine if he doesn't come in, but, I guess these two movies have everyone baffled because they're like, well, anything he put out before would be a hit. So why would people all of a sudden start caring? I guess maybe people just have had it with him in terms of...
He couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier if something bombed.
I just am shocked at this whole new navigation of this relationship. It's just a completely different narrative that is being spun in front of our faces that we're supposed to pretend that you cared about his life, that you want to know about his history. What are you fucking talking about?
And 5 years earlier, Robin would have been right on him saying, like, what are you talking about? You fucking hate his movies. You've hated every one of his films. What is this, this bullshit turnaround?
Or maybe when he was on Saturday Night Live was in the 80s or something. And
what?
What?
All of a sudden he's a time traveler.
He has no concept of time or places. He's like if you did a bunch of shrooms and opened up the MapQuest app. He has no idea, and it's reading Chinese in front of your eyes. You just have he's no idea what's going on.
I'm not sure. Maybe when he was with Sid Caesar in your show of shows, he was kind of funny. Or when he was on Carol Burnett, I thought he was really funny. But I don't know. He was in Monty Python all of a sudden.
Movies, I don't know.
So this movie didn't do well, and the movie before was Bucky Lost, and that didn't do well. But that Grown Ups movie before that did almost $170 million.
Right.
Yeah, well, they're making a sequel to that.
There you go. He'll be fine. He'll be back on top. No problem.
You don't hear the fucking disdain in that.
I really liked him on Moonlighting.
Okay, guys, so we're going to take you straight into December 15th, 2015. He finally bags the whale, and Sandler confronts him about just everything, basically. Not
and NYU freshman year, you guys, I loved you. That's why it was weird when you used to slam me.
Yeah,
it would break my heart because I loved you,
You were
so
a fan.
much. I loved you growing up, and me and my friends and Eric Lamonsoff, my buddy from Oceanside, Long Island, we used to talk about you all the time, and I would always say, man, if he sees my stuff, maybe he'll help. I always used to think you were going to help me out, and so I sent you you had a contest when I was a freshman, so
Okay, so I'm gonna let this play out for the next bit, guys. But basically, they had a song contest, whatever, and he was sending something in.
That's 1984.
Right.
You had a contest about the funniest songs.
Right.
We'll go to, like, you guys went to the beach somewhere. You went on a
California
trip.
somewhere.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I made a cassette. Me and my friend, we stayed up late night and made an entire cassette of tunes for you and sent it in. And that was Tim Herlihy, the guy I write all my movies with.
Right.
We said this is how it's going to happen. That you're going to
discover your songs.
You're going to like it
yeah,
and play it. And
right.
we listened. It was like 2 days in a row of. He didn't get to us yet. And you played a bunch of other songs, and it never happened.
What was it, like a song parody contest?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What did we know?
Right,
First of all, I always felt bad about all the years that we didn't speak, and I was.
Me too.
I really did because I was a total fucking asshole.
No, I would laugh when you would say it about other people. So it was my thing too. But I just didn't get it.
Okay, like it's right now it sounds sort of okay when he says I was a total fucking asshole, even though he doesn't believe it.
I don't mind this.
It was like, wow, I thought you were literally going to be
I was
my
just a
biggest
shithead.
supporter.
I was no one's supporter. My whole thing was I'm such an angry motherfucker.
Yeah.
That, like, I couldn't be happy for anybody.
That makes sense.
Success, and it was just a world of fucking anger.
But pretty cool that you were honest about it. And
He's not honest. He's getting close to it, but he's still not saying I was jealous. Being angry and being jealous are two very different things.
Yeah, but this is actually pretty close to
an apology.
This is pretty close to as far as you're going to get in the Stern world. I think this is as much as you're going to get as an honest approach to this. So I don't mind this.
Okay, fair enough. I still think it's disingenuous. I think it's all like, whitewashed to make him, to appease him at the moment. But if he got out of the studio, he'd tell you to someone else, no, those films were shit. Like, he'd still go on and talk shit about him. If he, I don't feel he has any honor about anything. And this is just because he's in studio.
Well, the whole idea of him coming on and the reasons for wanting him on, I think are disingenuous.
I've had moments like that, but I keep it to myself.
Well, I remember I saw you on a plane, and you were behind me, and I was like, oh, this is so stupid.
You were nasty to me, and I remember the next day you talked about me being an asshole again because I didn't say hello.
Right.
But I didn't. The reason I didn't say hello is you were saying shit about me, and what was I?
We're gonna go hi.
Exactly, and I was with my buddy Loughran, and he's a tough guy, and I didn't want to let him down and make.
Okay, so at the time, Wig was like, and this is when he recorded this, when he responded to Rob Schneider telling him this story, he was like, I don't care if people don't like me.
But then this is another one of those circumstances where if I don't like something or somebody, I have no issue telling them to their face, like whatsoever in life. I mean, there's not one time I can think of where I haven't spoken my mind to somebody's face and said, I think you're an absolute shit.
Have you ever had such disdain for a person for a long, long time and then buried the hatchet with them in the whatever, and then been able to forget everything really in your life?
But if that were the time, Howard would have turned around. If he were a really genuine person, he would have turned around on that flight and said the things he's saying now on his show. But the only reason why he's saying them now is because he's brave in front of a microphone and it's his show.
Yeah. And also that has to happen. It has to happen here because you can rewrite the narrative. But again, if you're a listener, if you're a long-term listener, we're providing you with the clips if you didn't hear them originally, just to make your own decision. Like, is this a legit turnaround? Is this a proper apology? I agree with you in the fact that, in the idea that this is the closest you're going to get to an apology from him on the air or off the air. But I still don't find it. I still think it's disingenuous. It's just because he came in, and if his star started fading again, you'd never fuck Sandler,
Right, exactly. And I'm also the type of person, like, even if you're in a group of people and you're like, okay, listen, you just got to get, they're going to come to this thing with us. You just got to get along to get along.
Yeah.
I'm not that person. I will not be that person. I don't pretend to get along to get along. If I don't like you, I don't like you across the board, and I won't pretend to.
So in a social situation, you just don't interact with the person?
No, or I'll tell them if they try to fake interact with me, I'll just pull up why I don't like them and we can hash it out face to face, but I'm not going to do this pretend nonsense or this.
Yeah. And in this case, Sandler going in, it was explained on the wrap-up show. Bowie said something like, this is 10 years in the making. So they were, I guess, admitting on the wrap-up show that they actively tried to get him on as late as then, like as long as is that far back.
Right. So they've been actively trying to shift the narrative and somewhat get him on in hopes.
Yeah, but being hamstrung by their fucking boss who can't stop shitting on him in that entire time.
And not turning around on a flight and simply saying, I'm sorry, would you like to come on my show? Yeah. Which would have been that would have ended it all. Instead of doing it, they were in simply doing the adult thing. But he's a child.
Yeah, I was like scared.
You were actually taller than I thought. I was like, maybe I can't beat up.
It was a disaster.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad.
I don't even recall you talking about that.
Yeah. I'm so glad you're here. I was really excited you came.
Me too.
In.
And all the boys.
I remember. She said, Robin goes, I remember you called me about that. So it was something he felt he had to tell her privately. That's how important it was.
Because Howard genuinely does care what people think of him more than anyone.
Oh yeah.
Boys would always tell me you got to do Howard, and I just from all the slamming over the years, because I wouldn't even know. My friends would call me up all the time. Oh, wow, you hear what Howard said about all the time.
Oh no.
And I didn't need to know.
I was so excited you were coming in because I wanted a chance to tell you how badly I wanted you on the show, and I wanted to hear about all your years of doing Saturday Night Live, and I knew all your whole story and everything. So I'm so happy you're here today.
Too.
I really, truly am.
And I'm excited to do it. And I appreciate it.
It just feels so, and this is where I get disappointed in Sandler, because if somebody did that to me for so long, I would take the integrity approach of, you couldn't wait to suck my dick because you need an image change. So here I am, get ready, bend down, and start sucking, motherfucker. That's how I would approach this. I wouldn't approach this as a mea culpa sort of cathartic situation the way they are. I mean, he's being completely kind.
Yeah, way kinder than I certainly would have been. And I would look to shame him the same way Wig had a forum to shame people for ages, and when no one calls him on it, he would be less apt to do that if everybody fucking humiliated him in public and talked about how much of a shithead he was. As a narcissist, he'd love the attention, but in the end, there would be no turnaround possible because it would just be spread throughout Hollywood. This guy's a dirtbag. Fuck him.
Well, that's the integrity part that Wesley Snipes lacked when he went on the show. You know, he just gave him a couple of lines, and same with Sandler. It's a real lack of integrity in my eyes.
Oh yeah. And it's integrity is not something that Hollywood is famous for, and Hollywood characters and actors and whatever. There are very few straight shooters, and oh God, one of these days we ever do a subtopic pop culture podcast that has nothing to do with Stern, I have loads of stories I can share with people that I think would be fascinating in terms of the business over the decades. The one thing I will say, because that's the end of that clip, and we don't have any more, even though I do have some handy. In 2018 or so, Ronnie gets a bit part on a Sandler film or a Sandler production, and Wiggy at one point after that's done says some snide comment like, Ronnie, your boss Adam Sandler is coming in, and like it's snarky, and I'm thinking to myself, if you're really like that person who's turned around and I've evolved, you don't say anything like that. That's a very passive aggressive fuck you for trying to get ahead.
1000%.
And this is literally 3 years, so he's coming in and you're shitting on him indirectly
instead of being excited about the fact that this guy that you've shit on for so long and you've made nice with, you should be happy that he's hiring your guy for a part that's not only paying him probably a substantial amount of money, but he's giving him exposure. Instead of being happy for him, you shit all over it.
Yeah, and it might be said as a joke, but it's not a joke. Like, you're really like, okay,
Well,
maybe
it bothered him.
Oh, I'm sure it did. I'm certain it did, because we know what happens every time someone gets a side gig. Anyway, guys, I hope I've said as much as I need to say on that. And these Reschindings usually last about 2 hours, except for the Arsenio one, which is like our Ben-Hur, and the Robert Plant one, which had to be put into 2 parts, really, 3 parts, really. So, but we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Just a quick notice for anybody listening. We've heard from a few people that the Spotify list of episodes is missing the first couple of episodes and maybe episode 85 or something like that. I don't know that. I don't use Spotify, so I have no idea. But if anybody has any issues, I can tell you that TuneIn is complete. Podbean is definitely complete. All the episodes are on there, and Podcast Addict as well. So there's some apps where there's no issue like that. And unless Spotify has gone ahead and deleted stuff just because, I don't know, some kind of indecency or something, then they should be getting rid of our entire collection, not just the 1 episode or 2 episodes.
Oh my God. I would be erased from everything. Look
exactly.
At that. I'm as indecent as they come.
Yeah. So, and there's no master list of episodes, but if you just scroll through on whatever app, it should give you the list of episodes completely. Because we're over with the mini episodes, which I do put on the app. They're definitely over 100. I think 103, 104 now. But actual episodes, I think only up to 86 or 87. So just a shout out, and a shout out to anybody who wants to donate to us on Patreon. We've got exclusive content every week on Patreon. That's excellent. It's really, really good. And we're going to do some synergy and have some of our Patreon content be on Sunday, so people can get a bit of a taste of it, especially Deborah's contributions, which are fantastic. And Carrie's doing a great
I love her voice.
And Carrie's doing a great job. We are planning something very soon that's going to be a lot of fun, and it's something that I know Sam does not want to tackle per se, but I know she'd like a piece of it because it's right up her alley as well. So I won't. I'll just plug it that way. And any closing thoughts, my dear?
No, this was great, and yeah.
Go into your hole. The hole is your home. Don't you want to be in your home? Take care, guys. We love you.
He was like a monster guitar.
That's classic Ozzy, too, when he comes in. Mr. Crowley! The video, he's like got the hands up. Yeah. I'm the devil. I'll take your kids' souls from you.
Don't you think?
Mr. Crowley!
Don't you think Ozzy does that hands out thing because he's got like sort of a Christ complex?
Well, probably. Now I think it's the living.